Hello YouTube, my name is Joe, and in this video I intend to answer the question, can a 53-year-old commercial truck driver become a commercial airline pilot? Hi guys, my name is Joe Boles. I am 53 years old and I have been a lifelong business owner. I started in my 20s and I've created several companies over the years. I've gotten to the point in my life where I needed to decide if I want to keep doing what I'm doing now or do something I look forward to from now until I'm dead. Flying was the first thing that came to mind and the wheels started turning, literally and figuratively, as a lot of my thinking occurred as I was driving across the country as a commercial truck driver. Of course, the first thing I thought about was, am I too old? Quickly after doing some research, I realized that it's not too late to start in your 40s and even late in your 50s. Watching other videos, like the ones by Mike and Sean, Trent, and several others, I thought, if what they say is true, then anyone that really wanted could follow their advice and use their strategies. After watching hours and hours of videos and reading thousands of comments, I could see a lot of people supported their ideas, while surprisingly a large amount of people said it's not possible. They made comments such as, they're not the norm, or they had a silver spoon in their mouth when they're born, or they're already rich, or this or that. They commented on topics saying it cannot be done that fast, or it costs way too much. I listened to the naysayers in my head for about a month or two while driving my semi across the country. But I kept thinking about, what do I want to do from now until I'm dead? And that's it. Probably too late for me. Well, I'm here to let you know that if you're not happy with your job and you want to get paid for something that you enjoy doing and that you actually dream about, it's not too late. Regardless if you're in your 20s and 30s transitioning out of the military, or just out of college, already dreading your first job, or you're in your 40s sitting at that desk job, it pays pretty good, but you hate Mondays and you only get excited for Fridays or possibly a snow day if you're lucky. Or somewhere around my age, ready to start your dream job as a commercial airline pilot. You can fly until you're 65 in the airlines, or potentially a lot longer than that as a corporate pilot. In this video, I want to talk about how I did my research, the cost to get all of your licenses and ratings, how long it takes, the real times based on which path you choose, and anything else that comes to mind before the camera stops rolling. If this is your first time watching a video about becoming a commercial airline pilot, or if you've already seen many like I have, I would love if you'd go ahead and as you're watching this video, ask the questions you have while you're thinking of them. Please make sure to leave those comments down below. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel here. Truck driver pun, of course, but I'm trying to show proof of concept that you can follow and anyone can follow. There are a few very successful pilots in here that make it look so easy, but I want you to see, with me, if it can be done as they claim. I will post videos along each step of the way so you can see if a commercial truck driver can make the Career 2.0 move to a commercial airline pilot. Okay, let's talk about why you can relate to this. I have been a successful commercial truck driver for almost the last 2 decades. It has allowed me to travel across the country and make a pretty decent living too. But as with most jobs, the excitement from it being new and stable income, it wears off after a while. I'm at the point where I ask myself, what do I want to do from now until I'm dead? I wanted to create a new path that was not a job at all. I even asked my wife, if we won the lottery and I never had to work another day in my life, what would I do? Some would say nothing and retire, but doing nothing is not what most people would say. They want to do something they feel passionate about for the rest of their life. You need to keep yourself busy. If you're not doing something, it's all over, in my opinion. As I was driving across the country, I heard Dave Ramsey say, find something you love to do and make it your way to earn a living, especially if that way of earning creates a large shovel. Another joke if you've ever heard Dave Ramsey. That's when I told my wife I would love to fly. So if you're watching this video, I'll bet you love airplanes and wondering, can this really be done as some have claimed? Can a commercial truck driver make the switch to commercial airline pilot? I started my love for flying back in 1990 when I went to my local airport, earned my private pilot's license in about 2 months over the summer between college semesters. After my first flight, I thought this was going to be it. This is going to be my career. I was excited and planned to enroll and make my dream a reality at the time. Then life happened, of course, along with the reality that it would take years. You see, back in the 1990s, pilots in the beginning of their careers only made about $20,000 a year working full-time, and you needed about 500 hours of multi-engine time to get hired to make any real money. I was already in my first business making more than that, and soon to be married and needed a stable income, as some of you can relate. Side note, If you're already in your 20s and you look up in the sky when airplanes fly over, just go for it now. I'm telling you, you will not regret it. The times are way different now than they were back then. Okay, now back to my story. So I know from firsthand experience that I really love airplanes. So what made me think I can do this at my age? Well, you're doing it right now, just like I did. I started research on YouTube. I started watching videos, like watching Sean and Mike, hope to see you in Naples in 2025. Trent, thanks for your time and advice about not reinventing the wheel, and many others. I talked to several professional pilots that work as airline pilots and a few corporate pilots. Just about every one of them started their career 2.0 and said they've never been happier and they wish they did it sooner. One of the pilots I spoke with last said he was a commercial truck driver in his late 40s. He made the switch to commercial corporate pilot and he's never ever been happier. He's 72 now. He says he loves what he does and his job's not a job to him. Now that was inspiration for me as a commercial truck driver. He also said making well into the six figures didn't hurt either. So there I was, driving from Naples, Florida, thinking, maybe I can do this. I knew I was not going to try. I'm either going to make it happen or I'm not going to start at all. That began the process. I knew I needed 1,500 hours to get hired as a commercial airline pilot, and that the money was well worth the ROI it would take, not which path to take. That's the big question most people are thinking right now. If you're going to do it, what are we going to do and how are we going to do it? I knew it would take 1,500 hours to become an airline pilot, and that it's possible to get your 1,500 hours within 18 to 24 months, which is the amount of hours that you need to be employable by an airline. I'll go over more of that later in other videos, but to start off making six figures in your first real job as a professional airline pilot sounded pretty good starting pay and a pretty good ROI. And keep in mind that airline pilots usually only work about 2 weeks a month or so there's a lot of extra time to do extra things to earn a little extra money. Getting paid six figures a year to do what I would consider a part-time job compared to the 70-hour work week that I do now being a commercial truck driver really intrigued me a lot more. Most of the information I found is that airline pilots only fly about 14 days a month working for the airlines, and corporate has different days per month depending on their operation. I don't have all the rules and maximum hours pilots can fly memorized. Maybe some of you who know more than I do can post that down below and help answer some of the questions in the chat below. So compared to commercial truck driving, it's really a part-time job. This would leave me a lot of time to do other things, like still drive loads part-time when the rates are good, or invest in real estate like many pilots that I know already do. This is another reason why I think it's a great decision for me, and that it could be a great decision for you too. And if you're somewhere around my age, it's definitely never too late. Several of the pilots I know have started older than me. One guy started at 58 years old and now he's 72 working as a corporate pilot. He's making great money and excited to fly every time he goes up. Let's do some quick math to verify what some have said and see if we can make sense of the ROI. First of all, I do not have a 401k that I can use to pay for my training, and I'm not eligible for VA funding. And no, I didn't win the lottery. So let's talk about the training, the actual cost of training, and how long the training will actually take. If you don't have your private pilot's license, you're going to spend about $10,000 to get your private pilot's license. I have verified this number, and yes, it is real. I've heard of some pilots paying $15,000, and I heard of one person saying they paid $22,000. I paid $5,000 in 1990 and earned my private pilot's license in about 2 months, and I was flying part-time, only flying 1 to 3 times per week. So if you need your private pilot's license now, you'll need to have 40 hours of flight instruction if you're in the United States. You'll have about 30 hours of dual instruction with an instructor flying with you at all times. Then you'll have about 10 hours of solo flying. If you commit to full-time accelerated training, you can get your private pilot's license in less than a month. Once you have your private pilot's license, if you're going at it full-time, like what I'm planning on doing, you can keep going full-time and get all your certificates and all your ratings fast. I decided, as I mentioned earlier, I'm not going to try, I'm going to do this. So I decided to stop everything and park my truck and go off to school. That's what I'm doing. This is now going to be my full-time mission, and I will succeed. You can too if you decide to make this your full-time vocation. You can knock out your private pilot's license in a month or so, and then on to your instrument rating. Now this is where I heard it gets tough. The work gets a little harder, but the learning is more fun from what I've heard. Next, you're going to go on and get your commercial pilot's license. According to the FAA, you're going to need 250 hours of pilot command time if you are at a Part 61 school, and only 190 hours if you're at a Part 141 school. There are a number of written exams that you're going to have to pass also. Another thing that you need to take care of is getting your medical exam to become a pilot. All of this training is going to cost you around $30,000 if you're able to do it in the minimum amount of time. If you take longer, you're going to be spending more money and more time. Some schools out there say they can do it in 5 months, 5.5 months, some say 6 months, which is my goal too. Some big box flight schools used to say 6 months, then they said 7 months, and now they're saying 12 months. Other people take longer because they're not doing it full time. You also are going to want to get your multi-engine rating. That's going to run you about $5,000. And you may want to get your CFI or CFII to become an instructor. That's going to cost you about $7,500 if you go that route. I'll talk about if you should become an instructor or not and how you're going to build time other ways in another video. If you want to hear me talk about my path and options that you can do based on my experience and my research, please subscribe and hit the bell below and you'll get notifications about it. So now let's get back to the ROI. After you get through your training, you can expect to average around $200,000 a year as a commercial pilot. Of course, it starts off lower in the first several years, but quickly rises year after year. So for really simple math, let's say I'm going to be employable by an airline in 2 years from now by the time I'm 55. This would allow me to fly until I'm 65, and then I could possibly fly corporate after that and continue to fly. My friend that is a corporate pilot is 72 years old now, and he loves flying and says he's flying until he loses his medical. I have heard medical examiners issuing medicals for pilots in their late 70s. I hope to have around 20 years where I can fly and earn some good money. If we use the standard average of $200,000 a year times 20 years, that's about $4 million in earnings for a $50,000 investment. Of course, this is my really simple math. I have seen it before and you can look for yourself. Pilot wages and some contracts are posted online. I'm planning on going to school for 6 months and then another 12 months where I plan on being a flight instructor. If you plan to be a flight instructor making $30,000 to $60,000, your flight training can be paid for. That makes the ROI more than sufficient to justify the outlay of capital. Also for me, I'm not doing this just for the money. If I wanted to do it for the money, I could keep driving my truck across the country living comfortably. I'm doing this because I want to enjoy what I do with a passion. It's not just about the money for me, it's what I do for a living on a day-to-day basis as if I won the lottery and I'm retired. Of course, there's a pretty good ROI on top of it. I plan to fly into my late 70s if I'm lucky, and I like the idea of doing some real estate investing and doing a job that pays more as the work level goes down. As you get more seniority, you can choose when you fly and how often you fly. I can still make 6 figures for years to come doing a job that I really, really love doing. So that's what I've been thinking. I think this decision makes a whole lot of sense for me, and I'm really excited about going forward and proving that this can be done by anyone. So I'm going to start my training and learning all the things that I need to make the transition from a commercial truck driver to a commercial airline pilot. I'm going to learn to fly new planes and have a whole lot of fun while I'm doing it. We'll cover everything that I do and I will update you on what is real and what is hype. I'll share all that I find out in future videos. So for now, I want to repeat what I started with. If you're not happy with the path in life as far as your career is going and you've wanted to be a pilot, but you've been second guessing yourself or afraid of whatever's holding you back, I want to repeat that you only have one life to live. If you look forward in your life for the next 10 to 20 years and can imagine doing something that you love, wouldn't that be the best path? Thank you very much for watching this far. Again, if you'd like to follow my path through flight school, I'm going to be doing a lot of cockpit videos with my instructors. I'm going to be doing videos confirming times to train and the actual costs along the way. Also, any other videos you request from me and anything you can think of, please let me know. So please subscribe and leave me a comment with the things you'd like to see from me and answer any questions in the future. Thank you very much for watching. 10-4, good buddies. Over and out for now.